Imagine this hall is a bank, and we're in the midst of a bank robbery. There's a scary criminal with a Kalashnikov, and he yells, "Get down, everyone!" We are now hostages. The phone rings. It's the police, a hostage negotiator. The criminal says, "I want $500 million, a plane with a full tank in 4 hours, or everyone in here dies." Can you imagine what that negotiator is up against? They have to convince this dangerous criminal, yeah, you're not getting $500 million, you're not getting a plane, none of that. But here's what's going to happen instead. You're going to put down your weapon, walk out the door, surrender to the police, and go to prison for the rest of your life. Sounds like a deal? It does? Okay. Well, it sounds absurd if you ask me. How can you even think of influencing someone's decision, behavior to this extent? But if that was absurd, here's the kicker. The success rate of hostage negotiations, and by success I mean no one dies, minimum body harm, and peaceful surrender. And the success rate is not 2% or 10% or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, it is 98%. 98% success rate, can you imagine? How did you take someone who was so dangerous, so polar opposite, to give all of his plans up, all of their plans up, and choose a completely different behavior and outcome? And that principle is, you cannot influence before establishing connection. Only when you earn the trust of that criminal, you make them feel seen, heard, understood, and safe, can you then move on to influence them with your suggestions. That was my aha moment, because I realized connection is not a soft skill. Connection is a survival skill. It's our gateway to change. Now, that scenario was a little dramatic. Think Criminal Minds meets Die Hard. But have you looked around our life right now and what's happening every day? People are trying to push ideas, sell products, get buy-in as soon as possible without establishing trust and connection. Why is that? Why are we skipping this critical human need and jumping straight to influence, expecting any sort of change? Well, the answer lies here in the brain. And this is exactly where my passion is. Bringing behavioral science to life to help leaders overcome their resistance, to help them build teams that feel seen and valued, to help them tell stories that not only connect, but inspire action. And here's what I learned along the way. It doesn't matter how smart you are or how great your idea is. If you lead by command and control instead of connection, if you lead by information overload instead of emotion, people's brain will react the same way. Defensive, resistant, disinterested. Now, we may think, this might happen to beginners figuring things out. But I can tell you, I've seen this happen over and over again, even with senior leaders. In one of my workshops on behavior change, I had a group of leaders. The role play exercise was very simple. You just have to get to trust and connection with each other. Don't even think about influence. At the end of that exercise, the leader who was role-playing as the upset employee turned to her colleagues, who she's been working with for years, and said, "This was surprising because I felt so unheard. It's as if no one cared about my struggles. All people wanted to do was to tell me what I should do or what they should do." So why does this happen? There's zero connection here in this situation. To understand that, let's get inside the brain a bit. Think of your brain as this overprotective powerhouse. It makes hundreds of decisions every day to serve you, make you feel good, protect you. And when it senses a threat, it immediately tenses up, becomes alert, and starts shutting all its doors. When it does that, what happens is it blocks access to your deeper emotional brain, the part of you that's all about vulnerability, authenticity, psychological safety, trust, emotion, connection, that gateway to change. Think of the game Super Mario. For a little bit of a funky explanation and idea. In that game, when you are stuck at a level just fighting, dodging, jumping, you are not able to focus on getting to the princess, rescuing her, and bringing peace to the kingdom. It's only when you shift your attention from all that jumping and dodging to finding the hidden doorway, that's when you reach closer to your goal. Now, there may be times in life, and this might sound crazy, that you will find yourself relating to roles you never thought you would. For example, there will be times when you actually find yourself identifying with the hostage negotiator. What does that mean? Facing someone who's hostile, demanding, unreasonable expectations? Sounds familiar? When I was working in corporate, I had clients like that. They were so demanding, completely unreasonable. They would make a request at the end of the day and asking us to send a detailed analytical response the next morning. And as frustrating as it was, we had to lead that conversation with calm and understanding, explaining to them why our team needed more time. There will also be days when you find yourself relating to that crazy criminal. Not because you're crazy, not because you're dangerous, or maybe you are and I just don't know you enough. But the reason is, what's that role like? What's that place like? Threatened, afraid, scared, backed into a corner, completely alone, feeling like you have nothing else to do and no other option left. You know what this reminds me of? This particular day during lockdown. It was early in lockdown. We weren't quite sure what was going on. I had recently quit my corporate career, started my business in a country halfway across the world from where I was born. And while my business was exciting, I remember that day in March. I woke up and within 2 hours, all my contracts disappeared. Clients evaporated into thin air. Meetings, keynotes, talks, trainings, coaching, conversations, everything gone. And I know I'm not alone. So many of us faced that. Now, when something like this happens and you feel cornered, you don't know what to do, how does your brain react? A couple of options. Either retreats in fear, pushes harder, paralyzed. But what if I gave you another option? Option 4. Break out of these patterns entirely. So how do you do it? To elaborate on that, let me tell you a story about Willem, a corporate leader I met recently, last year, a brilliant leader who managed operations of over 100,000 restaurants, led a global team, and recently his team had launched a brilliant new platform to help local restaurants grow. They had a ton of pressure on themselves. The targets were really high. They were feeling that pressure. And so they reached out to the restaurants in the country, said, please come, let's get on board. Their product was excellent. Their customer outreach was so fancy and expensive. And their results, 0. Nothing. The team was frustrated and scared. He reached out to me. What are we missing here? So I asked, can you show me what your conversations with your customers have been like? Can you show me the outreach program, the campaign? And when I reviewed it, here's what I gathered and what I'm going to share with you, how they presented themselves. Hi, we're from company XYZ. We're experts in this industry. We have just launched a brand new platform, and here's what it can do for you. Numbers, stats, solutions. Join us now. Guess what the reader's or the customer's brain said to that? Data overload, transactional, boring, ignore. I asked them, do they even know your story? Do they know you've lived and breathed their challenges for years? That there is no problem in their business out there that you cannot solve or that you're not prepared for? Well, not really. There's the problem. If people don't know you, they don't feel understood by you, they're not going to trust you. So we reframed the entire outreach. Instead of leading with, here's what we do, we led with empathy. Your food is amazing, but your visibility does not reflect it. You spend so much on ads, but nothing changes. Your current customers love your food, but new customers can't find you. Backed it with credibility. Show proof of impact that they had helped tens of thousands of restaurants grow. Now, their customers saw themselves in the story and leaned in. Within 1 week, they went from 0 responses to hitting 1/3 of their annual target. Same idea, same audience, just one shift. Connection. That gateway to change. Now, I've said it before and I will say it again. People do not care about if you are the most intelligent person in the room, if you had the most brilliant idea out there. They care about the person who made them feel something and then gave them a reason to act on it. What if we could harness this power and use it, apply it with the people around us? In 1999, a man stood in his tiny living room of his apartment, surrounded by 17 of his friends cramped up in there. It was Jack Ma presenting the pitch of Alibaba. He did not bombard them with numbers, data, facts, and he did not bombard them with bullet lists of here's all the things that you need to do right now. No. He united them by making them feel valued, connected, inspired. He gave them a vision. What will Alibaba look like in the future? He gave them a goal. We need to learn the hardworking spirit of Silicon Valley. He gave them pride. If we know what we want to do and we build a good team, one of us can be better than 10 of them. Now, in recent years, understandably, the company's policies have come into question. But what I would like you to focus on is that moment from 1999. And that pitch video is online. You can access it. Just look up 1999 Jack Ma, Alibaba. You'll find it. And it's beautiful because it shows how harnessing that one principle, connection, can ignite people into action. Now, do you remember what the hostage negotiator did at the beginning of this talk? They did not lead with pushiness, control, authority. They led with empathy, understanding, and that saved lives. Now, you and I are most likely going to have slightly less stressful conversations every day, yet those conversations hold power because they hold the power to make people feel seen and valued, build trust, help you stand out in their minds, and even ignite change. So before I leave today, I would love to leave you with a challenge, and I call it the 7-Day Connect Challenge. It's very simple. Here's how it goes. Starting today, for the next 7 days, every single meeting you're in, every single conversation you're in, whether it's 30 seconds or 30 minutes, ask yourself, how can I make this person feel seen and valued? It could be your colleague, your client, your friend, a stranger, the person who's pouring your coffee at the cafeteria, the person at the bar here, the person at the oliebola stand, those delicious Dutch donuts we so love here in winter. Ask yourself, how can I help them feel seen and valued? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Yeah, lady, calm down, that's too much. All right, this is crazy. What if I don't know what to say? What if it gets awkward? What if I sound creepy? And, well, you know what? You win some, you lose some. And anyway, what doesn't kill you makes a great story. But what you will notice is a change, a shift as the days go by. Because you will notice a shift in how you show up with your calm and confident presence. You will notice a shift in how people respond to you and how they even feel about themselves. In this world we're in today that's bombarded with change, technology, AI, probably our biggest challenge right now is how do we stay human with each other? Because when we truly, authentically connect with each other, you don't just change how they listen to you, you change how they believe. not just in you or your idea, but even in themselves. Turns out, connection is not optional, and connection is not a soft skill. Connection is the gateway to change. Thank you.